start on the Cavs.
Yes, please.
Wow is all I can say. With 5 minutes to go, it looked like this one was in the hip pocket. And with Milwaukee losing, it looked like they were going to be in a tie for first place in the division. And it just all went downhill in a hurry. What did you see?
It was stunning. Overall, I mean, it was a great weekend because they won in Detroit, obviously, Friday when they didn't have their two best guards. And then, the way they played in the second half against LeBron and the Lakers was fantastic. And it looked like, as you said, they were going to cruise in the fourth quarter, pulling away up by 13 to their ninth straight victory. And they just, for whatever reason, Donovan Mitchell has been phenomenal. It looked hesitant to shoot in that stretch, like for a 5-minute stretch. It was really weird. I don't know what
he shot
what
once
happened.
in the last 7 minutes, I think.
Once in the last 7 minutes, and he didn't score until his last two free throws. His last point before that was with 11:30 in the fourth quarter.
I also think my guy Ty Lue did a nice job of trying to get the ball out of his hands.
Well, yeah,
the game
made
too.
it tougher for them for sure.
Because that's what Ty does.
But guys, big picture, like Paul George after the game. I don't know if you saw his quotes, but he was like, this was a huge win for us. We beat a really good team.
They were in a bad spot. The Clippers have been in a bad way. Ty called them out and really ripped them about a week ago, so they're not a very good team.
And that was a gut check win, too, against a great team.
Yeah.
And when you're down 13 with 5 to go, I mean, there are certain things, after the Browns blew a 14-point lead with 2 minutes to go, you never say never, but if you have a double-digit lead and there's 4 minutes or less, you feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
And one team took their foot off the gas, and Ty Lue had his Clippers pedal to the metal, and it was stunning. Bull, I'm with you. I was really disappointed in Mitchell's almost like, I know it wasn't his decision. They were making it tough to get the ball in his hands, but that's why you're here. You're the guy that we want the ball in your hands with 2 minutes to go in the game in the balance, and he didn't do it.
Agreed. But I think, the positive obviously has outweighed the negative by a million times. And I think in the long run, I love the video after the game when they went crazy about this. What is this thing they give out? The dog chain? I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, junkyard dog chain.
The junkyard dog thing. Like the way they gave it to the coach and the team, I think, it was awful the last 5 minutes. But I think Donovan Mitchell said it after the game. We're going to learn from this. This is something that's going to happen in the playoffs. He said that specifically. Jason, you've talked about before how Ty Lue is a great playoff coach. He's great at making adjustments, right? And the game is coached differently. And Donovan Mitchell said specifically, hey, we have to learn from this. We're going to learn from this. And I think with this coaching staff and this team, despite the ugly ending, I have zero doubt that they will learn from this experience. And, listen, good team's going to lose games like this once in a while. It has you shaking your head, but I don't think this will happen very often. I do think there was a major positive in the way Mobley played offensively. He had a great game, but despite the brutal ending, I really couldn't be more excited about this team right now. I think they're a measuring stick for the rest of the league, which is remarkable.
I would have thought they'd be that. I would second that, Bull, and it's tough in the moment because the loss was so disappointing.
Sure,
but hell, they're 8-2. The Bucks are 9-1. If you look at all the metrics, offensively and defensively, they're at the top of the league.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of circle back to the Lakers game and LeBron's comments after the loss.
Yeah.
I watched that entire news conference. Shout out to
Jason.
He mentioned you as like his good friend Jason.
Would you look at him trying to play it down?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't think it's cool that LeBron mentioned him.
It was pretty cool.
He's like, oh, did he mention my name again? Did he call me his friend? I'm so annoyed by that.
No, because he knows I'm sure he's forgotten. He's got more important things. But we got into it when he called us his wives. He called me, Dave, and Joe Varden, his McMenamin and Joe Varden, his road wives. And I'm like, don't ever call me. Like, that's so disrespectful. Don't ever call me your wife.
Right, yeah.
And I got into so, like, stuff like that drives me crazy. And then he did it again. If we're friends, how come I've never been invited to any of his cool parties or I've never been invited over for a cookout?
Well, he probably doesn't want to,
like,
drag down the scene, right?
We are, like, for the record, we are not friends. We have a very amicable working relationship, professional relationship.
I wanted to ask.
But come on, Jason, it's cool he mentions you by name. Come on.
We have a great relationship. Yeah. There's a lot of trust there on both sides, obviously. There's a lot of respect there. I have a ton of respect for him, obviously, a ton of respect for him. And, I would guess I could say it's mutual both ways.
Yeah.
But he hasn't invited you to stay in his cryogenic freezing chamber or anything like that.
Not,
he should.
Well, counterpoint, Jason, have you invited LeBron over for Taco Tuesday dinner when he was in Cleveland?
No.
Well, then listen, you can't be mad that he hasn't invited you.
That's
That's fair.
Nuggets.
That's true.
That's my
Jay,
point.
The phone works both ways.
I bring that up because I watched the entire news conference. I'm guessing you did too. I was fascinated. Once the conversation turned to Cleveland, I was just fascinated. First of all, his demeanor. He looked like a kid who's been abandoned on the playground and knows what his current situation is, that it's untenable. The Lakers are who they are now.
Yes.
And he's watching his ex-girlfriend pal around with all of the kids that used to play around with him on the playground.
Yep.
They're all now
So
with his
happy,
ex-girlfriend.
laughing.
What did you make of his Cleveland response? How he talked about these guys just love the ball. I think he's officially hit the envious stage and maybe regret.
I disagree.
You do?
Because he chose this life.
No, that doesn't mean that he can't feel regret now.
But he knew what was that. That's why his comments to me at All-Star Weekend exploded so much. Like, obviously he knows why they erupted, because he was about to become a free agent. Now he's not. Like, he signed up for this. He knew what he was getting into when he took that money from the Lakers. He knew they weren't going to be very good. He knew there's not really a path back to where he was. Because he's reached, I can comfortably, like, this is the question I had before going into free agency. I'll go back to the conversation we had in New Orleans when he just blew up the entire franchise and said, we're top heavy, we need more playmakers, and just put the pressure on Griff and Dan and everybody. And when he was done, he said, it'd be different if I wasn't still in championship mode, but I'm still playing at an incredibly high level. And my question all summer has been, is he still in championship mode? By signing that contract, he said, no, I am no longer in championship
shut it
But
down.
you know that LeBron changes his mind like the wind changes direction.
But
and I know he signed that, and I know in the moment maybe he thought maybe we can still get one done, but we're only 15% through the season.
Right.
But he sees what he has there. And look, a guy can buy a car and 3 days later say, what the hell did I do that for?
No, but he knew.
As I listen to LeBron, who's fickle and emotional, to me, it sounded like he wants to be a part of this.
No, I don't think so, because he had every opportunity. Like, they could have fit him. If he wanted to come back.
Yeah, but Donovan Mitchell makes this a different situation.
But he could have been Donovan Mitchell.
He could have been Donovan Mitchell, but Donovan Mitchell wouldn't be here.
Yes, but I'm saying he would be that Donovan Mitchell piece playing alongside Evan Mobley and Darius Garland and Jared. He knew what this thing was. He knew how close they were to going over the top. He knew he could have been the piece to put them over the top, and he still chose to stay in L.A. He's got a comfortable life out there. His kids are happy out there.
Probably working on a genie movie of some sort.
And he
still wants rings. He may not be in championship mode because he knows he can't get it done there.
But he could have. He could have come back. Like, they had pretty much a slot for him. Like, there's a reason that they left this open all summer long. And then when he went back to L.A., they pulled the trigger on the Mitchell deal. But they couldn't. I don't think that they could have had LeBron and Donovan.
No, I don't see how they could have.
It would have been one or the other. Like, because probably would have had to renounce Colin in order to fit LeBron in and everything. So it wouldn't have worked to get them both. I don't think. I'm not a capologist, but he had the opportunity to come back, and he chose not to. So I don't feel sorry for him, and I don't think that he's looking at this enviously, because he knows he could have been the piece that brought them this.
Bull, am I reading into his comments? I'm sure you watched the news conference. And I understand everything Jason just said, but you can make a decision and regret it 3 months later. But watching him talk about this Cavs team, about how they just love to play ball and they're having fun, I couldn't help but think that somewhere in LeBron, there's the question swirling in his head, if I went to Cleveland right now, does this make them the top team in the NBA? And my answer to that is yes.
I think you can both be right. Like, I don't see how, Jason, he can't have at least some level of envy or jealousy about this team, even though he made the choices, and obviously you know him better than we do. He made these choices, and you're right, it's probably impossible that they could have had Donovan Mitchell and him together. But in a dream world, there's got to be at least a little part of him thinking, oh, my God, if I could be on that team with Mitchell, Mobley, Allen, and Garland, even though it's probably not realistic, there's got to be a tiny part of him that would love to be playing on this team, because they would I mean, they'd be by far the best team in the NBA. I don't even think it'll be close.
Okay, so here's an apt comparison. He would tell me one day, like, he loves the Warriors. This is when he was here. He said, I love Golden State. I love everything that they stand for. I love what they've done. I love the way they play. I love that staff. All of it. Like, he loves the Warriors. Right. He's like, I could never play there. Like, I could never play for them.
Why?
Just because of, like, the legacy. He could never leave Cleveland and go to Golden State. He got destroyed for going to Miami. Imagine if he left and tried to go to Golden State.
Sure, I understand all of that.
So I kind of like make that comparison here to where he loves what the Cavs are doing. I think he probably is happy for his fans of Akron and Cleveland that they have it back. But I think he realizes, like, exactly what you said, Bull. This version with Donovan, adding LeBron to that, I don't think was ever realistic. So he can love it. He can look at it and say, this is great for them. This is fantastic. I love what they're doing. It doesn't fit for me to ever be part of it. I think it's an
not ever though. How long is his contract with the Lakers?
It's only 2 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but he might be looking at that and saying that's not going anywhere for a while. That's a young team.
And this is where it gets really complicated. When we had the conversation over All-Star, and I said, like, I threw out like mid-level exception, and he like scoffed at me. And he goes, "I'm a max player. I'm not coming for anything less than max."
That's so sad.
But when his son,
really. He might change his mind, though.
But he might. With Dan, it's different. He doesn't want to give Dan a break.
Right.
There's folks.
Nor has Dan
no relationship between those two.
Thanks,
there
Dan.
Never has been.
Well, hope it was whatever it is. It's bad.
Hope it was worth the Comic Sans letter, Dan. That we can't get him here on a friendly contract. Thanks again.
They just tolerated each other for those 4 years.
I know.
Was never really. So he's not going to cut.
That was
Dan
a shotgun
break.
wedding.
But I mean, when Bronny enters the league, if and when, and there's that whole other discussion: is he ready? Is he really an NBA player? Is he in college? That whole thing. Then, I mean, LeBron's already said, I'm going wherever he goes, and the money doesn't matter at that point. It's just the opportunity to play with his son. So who knows how the LeBron book ends? There could be a wild twist at the end. I'm not sure. He did say he would like to come back here. Maybe it's even on a one-day contract as a phony little thing to retire a Cavalier. I don't know. But I don't think the final chapter has been written between LeBron and Cleveland.
I don't either.
I just don't know what that looks like.
What if he buys the team?
I am with you. I don't think
he buys the team from Dan and comes back to play.
Dan will never sell to him. Dan would rather lose all of his money and go into bankruptcy and have the league take the team.
Well, it sounds like a really healthy relationship.
LeBron wants a franchise in Las Vegas.
Right.
He's come out and said
he wants a team.
And I bet that happens.
And
I think that's very likely to happen.
Jason, would Dan's kids sell to him?
No, I don't think so.
And these are the level-headed oligarchs that run our world.
But I will say, that Dan, listen, Dan and I have had our wars. We haven't really had a conversation in years. But he has done some really good things as an owner. He's aggressive in spending. And
I think the best thing he's ever done as an owner is to take himself out of the equation.
Well,
whether that was his decision or not.
It was health-related reasons.
But now that he's on the sidelines and just writing the checks, look at what this organization has done.
And I do think, and we wrote about this last year, his son Grant is the heir apparent to the throne, and Grant's role is growing every year. But he's a kid. He just graduated college.
Yeah.
And to his credit, he never came in thinking he knew everything.
Good.
He knew what he didn't know. He's tried to work in a bunch of different departments. He's tried to learn the business. And I feel really good about Grant as this thing grows and as his role grows. I feel really good about him empowering people and sort of having the Dolan way of staying out of the way and letting the people that they hire do their jobs. And if you combine the Gilbert money with
the willingness to spend money,
with the Gilbert money and the aggressiveness in spending, which, I mean, as Dan sort of separates over the years and as Grant grows, who knows if they'll continue to spend this way. But if they do, if they certainly have the means. If they continue to spend, and if you have an ownership structure in place that empowers the people to do the jobs that you hire them to do, that's the best combination you could have.
In other words,
I am hopeful.
It's the perfect setup, endless money without ownership to get in the way or have an opinion.
It is. It's rarely the case.
It's rarely the
because usually when they have that much money, you get Jerry Jones.
Yes.
What's up, Adam?
Let me say this. What's really exciting now is that we know the Cavs can play with anybody, right? They can play with anybody. And I'm really excited because think about this. I know Golden State's not playing great, but after Today's election day, of course. The NBA has no games today, which is a great job by them. So every American should go out and vote. I believe it's your duty to do so. So you're playing Golden State on Friday, which I'm really excited about. I know Golden State's not played great, but I think Steph Curry scored like 50 last night, or 48 or something, and he's been playing great. So that's fun. And what I'm really excited about, guys, they play Milwaukee twice in the next few weeks. They're at both times at Milwaukee. Next Wednesday, the 16th, and then Black Friday. 2 games this month at Milwaukee, plus a game at Golden State. Those are some awesome tests that I can't wait to see what the Cavs do in those games.
Yeah, they're good yardstick games. I think so far, the Celtics games were the yardstick games.
They were.
And they came through them. But everybody else, there's a lot of wins in there that they better win those games.
And yes, they are yardstick games, I agree. But they are yardstick games that mean far more to Cleveland than they do Boston and Milwaukee.
Sure.
And that has to be factored in as
They're
well.
They're climbing the mountain.
I don't know.
But
I was at that second Boston game, and that seemed like it meant a hell of a lot to those.
Oh, it was a playoff atmosphere.
They were chippy, man.
For sure.
I think the second one did, because the first time they got caught off guard on their court.
Yeah.
They
really
came in
wanted,
mad.
They wanted to send a message, but to Jason's point, they have what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the hungrier team has just enough to get them over the edge.
Losses don't mean much when you went to the finals the year before. A random loss in November. You're
Right.
Like, all right.
Yeah.
And you move on a lot quicker.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Bull. You had something.
But guys, now the Cavs are to the point where all the teams that were where the Cavs were, like these mediocre teams, these bad young teams, like they're going to bring it every night when they play the Cavs, because everybody else knows how good the Cavs are now.
Yeah, they're not sneaking up on anybody
prepared
this
for
year.
that.
Yeah, they're not sneaking up on people this year. Like
That's
they did
exactly
last
right.
year.
Those days are gone for sure. And every team that plays them, I like to look at the opposing team's comments after the games. Like, they're heaping major praise on this organization,
rightfully
what
so.
they have, how young they are, how everybody seems to like each other. The one thing that I love that LeBron said was, when I look at their team, I don't see a lot of guys hanging out on social media. And that is so true.
Yeah.
The league, the NBA, more than any other pro league, is a Twitter league. They love to, here I am, look at this, look at that. These guys are all of that age, and none of them care.
Because, as I've said before, one of the reasons I love this team is because they are nerds. I love that they're nerds. They don't go out. You never see them at town hall. They're at home playing. The Mobleys are at home playing video games together. The Mobley brothers
Let's
right
keep
now.
it that way.
And that's where I want them.
Yeah.
You guys stay home. I watched that Lakers game with a bunch of friends at a tavern setting on Sunday, and it was really fascinating. I'm watching a regular season basketball game that felt like a playoff game. Just watching it with people. People are excited about this team, and people who are out and about. There were people wearing Cavs stuff just watching the Cavs on a random Sunday for a regular season game. Now it was a Lakers game.
When was the last time that happened for a non-LeBron Cavs team?
Right. And what I did like seeing, too, was just LeBron has always had our number. What was that? Is that the third time we beat him? Third time we've ever beat him since he left. Ever. That's insane. And even in those ones,
Miami and the Lakers combined?
Yep.
Miami, they beat him once his first year. Remember, he absolutely destroyed him his first game back.
Yeah,
and then the second game, the Ryan Hollins game.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was the
Cavs won. And that was it.
The Ryan Hollins
game.
That's how it'll always be known.
And then they beat the Lakers, which I had forgotten totally about. I still don't remember much about it. I think his first year in L.A., they stole a win against the Lakers.
But regardless, even when sometimes we pull ahead in those games and stuff, but LeBron's always just shaking his head. He's just like, all right, guys, all right. And then he would but this was the first game that you just saw that he didn't have that. That wasn't an option this time.
Yeah.
You didn't feel like that was coming any minute. And we're just like, this team has surpassed what he can do to us.
At one point late against the
now.
Lakers, they got it close enough to where I thought, okay, now LeBron's going to have interest. But
no, he just sat back. They showed him
up.
on the bench. He was just checking his stocks on his phone.
He's reached that point, guys.
You could be right on that.
Yeah.
McNuggets?
Yeah, I don't get offended by many things, but something that Polk just said hurt me. We are at the stage now where LeBron is name-dropping Jason Lloyd in press conference, and Mike is talking about going to watch the Cavs game with friends, and I can't even get a name drop in that, Polk.
Wow.
That hurt. I was there.
Mike
I met
Lucas was
Hot
there.
Carl
Sorry.
and Big Ed and
Hot
all
Carl.
his friends with cool nicknames. And
Yep.
Couldn't even get the
Wow.
LeBron James courtesy
I don't
shout.
Well, you're in the inner circle, at least.
I thought
now.
if you wanted, I thought it's just so it's so chill between us now that I just didn't even feel like mentioning. I thought that we were a package and everyone just knew that.
Okay, as long as
Do you think
we're
he bought
cool with
that?
we
You think he
are-
bought that?
we are good.
No,
And if-
Mikey Mike met up and watched the Cavs game. And we had a swell time. You were very personable and you didn't embarrass anyone.
Yeah, I got a text from him. I was at dinner with my wife, and I get a text from him that he met the one person that could take down my entire career, who has every body I've buried in college and in my 20s.
Yeah,
Wow, who's that?
A mutual friend of
A
ours.
mutual friend of ours.
Who, yeah, he could burn us both.
Yeah,
but he's
yeah.
But we got
Mike
enough
texted me.
So
stuff
he's
on
on your
him.
payroll. That is.
We
what
got
you're
enough
saying.
stuff on him though. It's like the Soviet Union or it's like Russia and
Mutual
USA.
assured destruction.
Yeah.
Both hands off the buzzers.
Yeah.
And if you want to be friends with us and do some exclusive behind-the-scenes content,
Mm-hmm.
we do have 2 membership tiers now that are available. The starters tier is $1.99 a month. You get some cool custom emojis, some members-only community posts. We also do an overtime segment every day. Now that's the coaches tier for $4.99 a month. Today we're talking about which Cleveland athletes would make the best presidential ticket on Election Day. A little
Current
Cleveland
Cleveland
athletes would make the best
Mm-hmm.
presidential
Yeah.
ticket. So we'll have some fun with that.
I think I've got a good one. I can't wait to hear what everybody
So
else
yeah,
has.
we're gonna do that.
You get the you get the.
It'll be fun.
Go back to the. Can we go back to that once, or is it
course.
too late? You do get obviously with membership the Mike Lucas walking in on his parents having sex emoji. If anybody is.
You get that in both. Get that in
Interesting.
both. We also are up to 12 emojis now. We added Happy Brad this morning.
Oh,
So
good.
if you want more emojis, we got to hit certain membership numbers to unlock the rest of them. So
We need that's some BS.
that's coming. I
All
don't know
right.
what number that's coming. Ian Hill schedules these out ahead of time, but that is
okay.
in the queue. It is coming. I know we mentioned